And we're live.
Is
Richard
he still
Pryor
alive?
was one of the most famous comedians of the 70s. Like, I follow stand-up comedy. Like, that's what... He was in that movie?
You follow stand-up comedy?
I do. I really enjoy stand-up comedy.
Do you have, like, playing cards or something from stand-up comics?
I'll be right back.
Me of today would
but
feel
I
much more
really
differently.
Enjoy watching them.
Feel different about this.
I've seen Bill Burr live. I saw Brian Regan live, but he's way too clean and clean-cut to really appeal to my sensibilities. Mm-hmm. But I would really like to see Jim Norton live in the future. I'd like to see Louis C.K.
I was like, you follow stand-up comedians like it's weird? Like I didn't get it in PKA 140. Now I do. He studies stand-up comedians. He takes the things that he thinks are great from them and, uses them in his own stuff. He, leaves behind the stuff like the too clean for his sensibilities and just, doesn't bring that along with him. Like, I get it. I do that with speakers. I do that with, I used to watch Steve Jobs. You guys won't know John Chambers, but he was the CEO at Cisco. I watched the keynote addresses and look at what people do well, what people don't do well, what's sincere, what comes across as fake, what is a powerful delivery. I watch Trump. Trump has an interesting thing where he's not afraid to be bold. If there's a thing that he does well, if something's a 6 out of 10, he will tell you it's a 10. He will tell you these are the greatest hardwood floors to have ever been laid. He will tell you this is the tallest building, the most majestic thing ever. When he delivers a promise, he doesn't just say we're going to lower your healthcare bills. He's going to say you won't believe it. You won't believe it. It's going to be the greatest healthcare that anyone has ever seen anywhere on the planet ever. We are going to get this, and it's going to be cheap. It's going to be cheap, and it's going to be great, and it's going to be easy, and only I can do it. And okay, he can't deliver on those promises, but there's something to be said for his lack of modesty. Like if you're trying to sell something, I don't know, it's almost a character flaw, but you can't deny the effectiveness of it or the efficacy of it. So anyway, I watch speakers, and here's Taylor saying, I watch stand-up comedians. When I watch these stand-up comedians, I take this from this guy or that from that guy. I like to follow him. I like to study him. I thought it was interesting.
Assuming that his newest special after this isn't as terrible as Oh My God, which
I liked Oh My God, but
it was not funny.
It wasn't Louis C.K. standard.
It wasn't. Not at all. You're right. 100% right.
There were a few bits in there, like the tiny bit your fault stuff. You didn't like that?
Yeah. There were bits in there that were funny, but for the most part, I was so excited for his new special.
Yeah.
The Wuhan Bats, thank you for the sub, man. I appreciate it.
I feel like everything he did was a total grand slam, and then he just stopped working.
And you watch Bill Burr, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think I've seen all his specials. I don't know. I haven't seen every podcast or anything.
Oh, I listen to his podcast every week as I play COD poorly.
Not in a party because you're a friendist.
Fuck you, Left. Friends list, man. Like, send me a friends request.
I haven't turned on my Xbox
and that doesn't apply to everyone watching this. Don't send me a friend request.
But send him a Twitter follow at twitter.com/MurkaDurkah.
But, I mean, Bill Burr, he has a fantastic fan base, and all of his jokes are fucking original as shit.
How about we actually promote people that actually pay for the sponsorship? Team Zero Epiphany, the only motherfuckers that could put Halo 4 and Jurassic Park together.
I thought you did this at the beginning of the show. Wait, Wings, do you watch Bill Burr?
I don't give a fuck about Bill Burr. I don't watch comedy.
Don't tell me whether or not you give a fuck. Tell me if you watch him.
I don't watch comedy.
Oh.
Why not?
I don't like it. I don't enjoy it.
You've watched me on multiple PKAs. I'm hilarious. So just get a stand-up comic like
if it
Bill
isn't
Burr,
sci-fi, medieval times, or horror, I don't watch it.
Oh, so medieval times are in your criteria.
But
watch
not Game of Thrones.
Stop pretending that you're too elitist to watch something that most people find entertaining.
Wait, he said he doesn't like medieval times.
No, I thought that he just said that he likes sci-fi.
I think I'm wrong.
Middle Eastern.
Which one of us is right? Did you just say you like those things or don't like those things, Wayne?
I think you mean medieval, Taylor, not Middle Eastern.
I have an article open right now about a Middle Eastern thing. And so I just lost it in that.
It'll be the YoloBoys?
No, it's not about the YoloBoys.
The
but you
YoloBoys.
should. Well, there's no point in bringing them back up.
The YoloBoys are the
To
bomb.
the idea, they're cool.
He's funny, right?
Like, what are you gonna do with them? They don't want
The
anything.
YoloBoys are cool. That's all
I
you
have a
gotta
question,
know.
though.
Boys are some nice fucks. I'm about to call Kyle right now. I'm gonna call him.
You know, it stinks that Kyle missed most of the show so far, but I really like that he did the YoloBoys read. I thought he killed it.
Has Bill Burr gotten like big recently? Like, is this only like a recent
right now,
thing?
actually, I saw him live in. My girlfriend bought me tickets for the Kansas City show with me and my brother, and I went and saw that, and he was hilarious. And he's working on all new shit right now. It's not anything from the most recent special. It's all new.
So, Taylor, I
Yeah.
agree with you that Louis C.K.'s latest special wasn't,
It was not up to snuff.
it wasn't up to his previous standards. But I kind of feel like everybody's too nice to tell him that. He's very popular on the internet. They're making memes out of the lines he said. The little bit your fault stuff is real popular. He did that thing where, like, he's kind to pirates. I
remember that.
He did the just order it offline and pay $5, do your thing. Like, he started that whole.
Yep. I mean, he gave people. I think there was a show during
That order. So he made his show $5. He's like, hey, $5. $5 you can watch my special, please, if you can, or etc. And it seems super cheap, like $5. That's not much. That is so much. Imagine if PKA made $500,000 every episode plus, 6 million, sometimes $1 million. Like, to get people to pay $5 to watch an hour-long special is really profitable.
Hurricane. And he's like, I'll tell you what, we'll reschedule it. And they're like, what a hero. He's so fantastic. Not asking people to drive to his show during a hurricane. And
I'm shitting on him
do
for
no wrong, but his show was just okay. So I wonder if it's getting back to him.
I was so disappointed when I got his show. Oh my god, I was so excited because he.
I was just thinking I needed to adjust my
Far
camera.
and away. There's a picture on my Facebook.
You guys want to skip a bit?
On him, like talking to him, and there's no other picture on my Facebook where I'm like really excited, really excited.
I'm gonna date myself here.
Louis C.K. He's good, but the most recent special was lacking severely.
I feel like
It
Bill.
wasn't that funny. It wasn't that funny, and that's what it comes
Donation?
down to. It wasn't that funny. There
Who
weren't
all
enough
would
jokes.
let the
It was mostly
YoloBoy
just
run a train on them?
So
ancillary.
listen to
humor.
this. Louis C.K. did that
Thank
show
you, bro.
3 times for his special.
I
He wore
brought-
the same thing each time, and then they spliced together the
Appreciate
funniest
it.
cuts of it, to put the
Really?
actual show. Mhm.
I didn't know they did that.
And there was
Like to make the
Yeah,
special
Canadian
video.
coffee.
to make the I mean, it looked like it was a clean thing, but every time there was like a change in camera angles, there's a decent chance that it was a change in nights as well, and you can't tell. And there was
I didn't
one
know
take
that.
where he like spilled water all over himself, and it made the final cut. And
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
The water comes
It's
and
because
goes.
they- most likely, if I had no idea that they did that with the different splices.
I don't think you said you followed comedy, but I'm beginning to think I'm talking to some sort of minor league comedy follower at this point.
He's half-assing
I
it.
thought you were on my level, and I no longer think that.
Watches Bill Burr on
That
YouTube,
would
thinks
be
he's a
my
badass.
fucking dream job is being a stand-up comic. That would be my dream job.
Well,
What's your
what are you doing to
go-for,
make it happen?
I have begun trying to write comedy.
Let's hear one.
Thank you, Freeman Poor
I'm
Man.
not. I have nothing.
Yeah, let's
I
hear
too.
comedy.
You literally have not wrote one joke
I'm
down.
funnier than either of you fucks, you idiots. So just stop.
I never said
Probably
you-
true.
But
Don't get defensive. I was just making fun of Wings saying, let's hear one.
Wait. You know what? I think you might be the funniest guy. I'm not sure. Whatever. I feel like I put someone down when I said it.
All
But
right,
look, you're.
let's go ahead and go down this path.
I think what I was saying is Taylor's the funniest guy here, and then I realized I'd be putting down everyone else and held it back, but you know it, right? Right? It's facts.
So,
yeah, I tried to put
Hold on.
some-
All right. So, Wings, you might not have noticed, but I was talking.
I'm an asshole.
If you want after you're
Not in
done,
the middle of my fucking sentence.
Skip.
you can stand the already rules here.
So, but what are you doing to make your dreams come true, huh? Because I kick your ass in that regard.
No. I've been working recently,
Mm-hmm.
trying to write and find things that I can say that are funny, and it's honestly hard. It's really
Yes,
hard trying
absolutely.
to write comedy, because when you write it down in my own head, I'll say, that's really funny, but then I'll say it in my own cadence, and even though apparently, like, from every party I've ever been to and every friend group I've ever been a member of, like, I'm always the funny guy. Like, I just naturally form into that, but you have to expand that. You have to make sure that you're not appealing to a narrow audience. But I've been writing, trying to find funny jokes, and it's hard. But
Joe
I'm
Rogan
not,
talks about the craft of it, right?
I want to circle back to that, but we'll play it. I found what Taylor's saying interesting. He was like, I write it, I think I'm really funny, and then when I say it in my cadence, and he didn't expand on that thought, but did you guys catch that the second half was going to be, I write it, it seems funny, I say it in my cadence, and it doesn't kill. Like, that was what I think, where I think he was headed. I could be off, but that surprises me, because I think he's got 10 out of 10 delivery. I think that if you were to give him 5 out of 10 material, he would turn it into 10 out of 10 with his delivery. Like, that to me, that's one of his skill sets. And I could be reading between the lines incorrectly, but I thought he was saying the opposite was the case, and that's not how I see it. Did you fill in the lines like that? He was also wasted when he was saying that. I'm reading way too deep into 400 PKAs ago. But yeah.
Right? Like, so when Rogan was going at Mencia,
I love Rogan.
he'd be like, the thing about Mencia, he's a great performer. He would grant that, right? The guy can tell a joke.
Yes. Fantastic performer.
But he's like, he's skipping out on half of what it is to be a comedian. It's incredibly hard work, and it's difficult to, like, sit down at a desk and
What's
write
up, man?
funny. And other people sit there and they do that and they revise it. Then they go on stage and they bomb and they revise it and they work it and they find the dulls and they find the segue. That's what I'm looking for. The segues from one bit to the next bit to the next bit and turn it into a routine that is outstanding. And part of the big reason he was upset with Mencia is I felt like it was a little bit of hater, like a little bit of jealous about how successful he was. Basically because he felt like he was incredibly successful without doing the hard work.
He's a joke stealer.
It is, yeah. Mencia is a joke stealer, and that's why it's hard. But I mean,
But here's what I'm struggling to grasp. Trying to write, but you've got literally zero jokes.
You got to get used to bombing. Because I can put a YouTube video.
Well, won't you bomb right now? Give us one of those practice jokes you wrote down.
I'm not giving anything right now. I am waiting until I have a fantastic.
You trying to age it like a fine wine? Like, what are you doing to revise that?
He's trying to refine his craft, Wings.
I'm doing it until I have something that I'm confident with, something that's good. That's what I'm doing. I'm not gonna fucking.
How do you know? How do you know if what you have is
you're
good?
telling me that
it's the fucking Blue Note or some other place here around here where.
So you're telling me you'd rather bomb in front of
I'll
like
do it.
50 or 60 people than bomb in front of me?
Yeah, it's just the three of us here.
It's different.
No one will judge
Wait,
you.
3? Wait, what?
It is. Thank God Woody's here. I mean, it is different in real life.
Okay, I thought it was a little funny thing. I was like, Taylor, go ahead, tell some jokes. It's just the three of us here. And drunk Taylor heard, thank God Woody's here being supportive of me. As if there aren't, like, let's see, 250,000 people going to watch this. I don't think he saw what I was doing. I was a bit of an asshole when I said that. But, yeah.
Like, I've been working. I'm trying to do it. I'm trying to come up with funny shit. And it's not just like an 8-hour session of writing things down. You got to think of funny shit. Like, you got to do that.
Yeah, I've often wondered what the creative process is like for a comedian, right? Because Joe Rogan almost described it like writing an essay. Like, a lazy student might wait until inspiration hits and then just start writing, and hopefully that happens before a deadline or whatever. But a good student might sit down and will it to happen. You know, like, it is time for me to get work done, and they do it all the time. Can comedy be willed to happen? I don't know.
I don't think it can. It takes, even if you have the best fucking material ever, you need a cadence that is able to deliver that correctly.
Does this not tie into what he said before? I might be misinterpreting all this, but he's like, hey, I love my material. I don't love my cadence, which is crazy to me because I've never seen his like written material, but his cadence fucking a gift from God.
Okay, well,
Like-
to me, their joke writing and performing are separate tasks, right? So there's
Well, but usually the comedian does both tasks. They
I
write
know
it-
that. I know that. So I had a guy on my swim team. Hold on 1 second. Oh, hold on. Mute. Anyway, I don't want that on the recording. So I have a mute thing right here, but I'm not used to this mic, and I'm stupid. So I had a guy on my swim team, and this guy could tell any story and have the room in stitches, right? Which is a talent you also have. He talked of
Oh,
a
thank
story
you.
where he went through a Wendy's drive-through. And I don't even recall the detail. I think if you were to sum it up, he ordered it, she didn't hear him right, and then he ordered it again.
If
Whatever.
you're funny, it's not hard to keep people in stitches. You just gotta
Yeah.
keep that plate spinning.
If I were to tell that story, I think they'd be like, Woody, why did that take 6 minutes for you to explain? But when he told the story, everybody was dying, right? You know, oh my God, she didn't hear you properly, and you said it twice, or whatever. It was a great story. So that's the performance side of it. But can you will the story to actually happen?
Yes.
I think, like, so now we're 400 episodes later. He's done it, right? We've seen him come prepared with bits. One thing I appreciate about Taylor, he'll show up before the show, and he'll be like, guys, I got ideas. We're going to talk about things, you know, and he brings topics, you know, he'll do a, what am I looking for? A Bible story. That's I think what I was searching for. He'll have topics or a Bible story or something. And, you know, some of the bits that he's doing on the show might seem like they were spontaneously generated. No, most are, but some of them, you know, he had practiced.
You say yes?
I say
No.
yes. Let me
No.
let me
You
explain. Let me explain. I've heard y'all both talk about it. I actually do write. I have over 3,000 poems and songs and stuff I wrote during my period with Fetus to Fetus and other things like this. And all you need is the idea.
Is that your heavy metal band?
Yeah, heavy metal band, yeah. All you need is the idea. The idea is there. And I use the George Lucas theory. George Lucas, for those that aren't aware, he wrote Star Wars. He's the guy who wrote Star Wars.
I've heard of him. I've heard of both the movie and the guy.
Sorry, Joseph Bud, was he the first one to do that on the show? I think he might be the best one to do it on the show. I definitely have had, when I tell a story, I do it with bullet points and just like make sure the flow's right. So it's not like a script, like lines I've memorized. I just have help there. I remember one time, you know what? It didn't go well. I don't think anyone's going to be on my side with this because the bit worked out. But here's what happened. My friend was flying on his paramotor. His wing collapsed. He threw his reserve, barely opened in time. He hit the water. He started to drown. It got bad. He couldn't unclip. He gave up and decided he was going to die. Just then, people on a boat pulled him out and saved his life. Then they took him to the hospital, but he wasn't really injured. That's the fast forward. I was preparing to tell that story. I was practicing it. I was like doing it aloud to the wall, you know, going through, making sure it flowed well. I was making sure that like I hit these high points. It was dramatic for me. He's my real life friend. I like this guy. And he almost died that day. He accepted that he was going to die that day. Do you know anyone like that? Jesus Christ, right? So I had video of it too. We have video of the whole incident. And I was there ready to show the video and explain what happened. And I had practiced it and I was ready. And it was going to be a compelling PKA highlight. And I'd asked his permission to tell it too, right? Like, so bang, I come and I'm ready. Steve Hofstadter's on the show. And they heckled the fuck out of me. They like I couldn't talk 10 seconds without getting interrupted and disturbed and thrown off track. They start telling, like they changed the topic to some sport where you throw dead goats around and stuff. And like I came so prepared. And it's interesting to me because I never understood why comedians didn't like hecklers, right? As a non-comedian, I thought oftentimes them going back and forth with hecklers is outstanding. And if it's an outstanding show, does it really matter if it's the show you planned or some other outstanding show that just happened spontaneously? That was my thought on it as like a guy that had never done stand-up comedy. After Steve, of all people, heckled the fuck out of me, I was like, now I get it. Now I get why Steve and every other comedian I know of hates hecklers so much. They have prepared material. They have a cadence. They have a flow. They have a place they plan to go to with this material. And when someone's just yelling and like breaking up your routine, the thing that you've practiced, the thing that you're crafting with their random thoughts and taking it on to like dead goat sports, it just totally disrupts the whole vibe. Like that you had a thing. And so now, like, two things happen. One, I get why hecklers are despised by comedians. Two, I think it's somewhat funny that Steve, who dislikes hecklers maybe as much as anybody ever, was the one that did it to me.
Yeah.
Well, George Lucas said there's no such thing as a finished product. And I take that into regard. Like, even to this day, like, just 2 days ago, I revised something I originally wrote in 1997 because I read it over again and I felt like, oh, it would flow better this way. And that was a revision from 2008. Just write the joke down, read it. If it bombs, you change it up. All you need is the core idea. If you don't throw yourself out there, you're not going to do it. It's not supposed to be easy.
No, but have you ever put yourself out there in front of a live audience?
Yes.
I've done that before, where I go out there with a mic and I'm talking and trying to be funny, and it's fucking hard as shit. Like it's
Murka,
hard.
Durkah, try doing this.
Are we seeing the?
I mean, just try doing that, and making it entertaining.
I'm not gonna fucking lie. I'm hilarious. But
what I'm seeing is your chicken strip that wants to be hilarious.
It's just the way that I talk.
Are we seeing the proverbial chink in Murka Durkah's armor?
We are.
Why don't you go fuck yourself, you racist?
Oh, God, I knew you were going to fucking seize on that, but I couldn't find another way to word it. Son of a bitch.
Oh, the chink thing. I didn't even get it. I'm like, why is he calling?
You weren't clever enough, you idiot. No problems there.
Even after Murka, I didn't pick up the whole chink thing.
Again, I'm slow as molasses.
You gotta be funny. You gotta have fresh content. You gotta come out there hard and quick.
This is the good thing about being senile, people. You get to laugh at jokes twice.
Now, Murka, you follow comedy, and I've wondered this with the Joe Rogan,
I do.
Carlos Mencia stuff.
I don't like Joe Rogan's comedy very much, but his podcast is very good.
But and on the Carlos Mencia and Carlos Mencia stuff, and I just wondered, because I don't want to defend Carlos Mencia, but I just thought, I'm like, well, couldn't his defense be, because it's clear there's those mashups of him, obviously stealing jokes, or it's clear these jokes are really, really similar. Why is that? Isn't it possible, though, that if you're a comedian that does
who's producing
comedy, that you will come up with a similar joke to somebody else? Like Dane Cook. Dane Cook is all the time accused of stealing the bit he had about going to the shoe store.
Dane Cook sucks.
I understand.
But
I know.
But isn't that possible if you do topical comedy or you do?
I do follow stand-up. I know how it goes.
I was producing it, just to be clear.
There is no possibility of Mr. Mencia somehow finding all these same jokes in other people's specials and then assimilating them into one conglomerate special. There's no way.
And the thing about that, Lefty, is that they knew he was at that show. He added it to his shortly afterwards, and the jokes were not everyday things. Like if it was, hey, have you ever noticed that the grocery store lines go slower when you're not in them or something? Like that's maybe observation. But they were like crazy things, like dildo in a car exhaust. No, dude, that's stolen, and that's not an exact example. But yeah,
Lefty, enjoy that. I'm not trying to prove you wrong. I'm just trying to.
Is that the mashup?
No, I've seen this. I saw this on Joe Rogan's YouTube channel.
Yeah, well,
It's
just
the video.
watch that. There's no feasible way that he was coming up with those jokes.
So wait, Murka, you've performed on stage and told jokes live?
I've done it once.
How did it go?
A couple of my jokes went over really well, and I think it's mostly that, and a couple just fucking failed.
Mm-hmm.
And I've forgotten all of them since then because I want to be successful. Because that's my dream. Is I would love more than anything to be a stand-up comedian. Like I think I have what it takes to do that.
And I think you have a head start on like in the entertainment world than compared to most, right? Like
yeah, and I'm fucking great and hilarious and better than anyone. So like I can just do that.
And modest.
Will help. But I was thinking
Those
of your
things
YouTube
will help.
contacts in the world of people that you know and
people like you guys, but I made my little set of jokes. I've done it once or twice before. That went over really well, and people thought I was hilarious.
uh-huh.
And then other times where I've done it, where a couple jokes go over really well, and the rest of it just bombs and just is not good. And then you have to deal with that fact being up there with a microphone being like, oh yeah, well
I just want to tell him to fuck off. Like, fuck you, laugh at this shit, it's funny.
yeah, not have any success.
Just like in the middle of your routine, start giving them free shit. Like if your jokes bomb, keep like 10 T-shirts in your belt. Just throw them out. They'll start cheering.
This
You know
is
what's
good
easier
advice.
I found is that maybe this is because I'm just a natural asshole, but I'll just be up there talking, and then I'll just pick out individual people who look like they have insecurities,
Mm-hmm.
and then just be like, look at this fucking cunt, fatter than you would like to be, yet not in shape enough to wear a tight tee, you dumb cunt. Are you wearing some? Are you trying to impress?
First of all, thank you, Liquid Snake. I appreciate that. Not in shape enough to wear a tight tee? Is this a callback from the T-shirt conversation with Wings?
Your girlfriend's that not your girlfriend?
Why not change that to like, look at this 300-pound land monster right here. Good God, Shamu, back away from the buffet.
Honestly, if I'm being honest, it's just being a mean person, which I'm very good at. But just do anything to displace the blame from you onto someone else is the goal as a comedian. And I wouldn't call myself comedian at all because you have to at least have like a sold-out theater or something.
See, what you need to do is you need to hire somebody to follow you around to wherever you perform and then just sit in the crowd. And if you ever start to bomb, they'll start heckling you. And you have a prearranged heckling routine that you can enter into.
Bang.
Hey, I know Wings wants a new topic, but I wanted to say this. See, like, your dream is to become a comedian, and I have this concern that, like, it's a dream and not a plan, that it's not something you're actively executing on.
I've actively been writing for a while.
Really? Because when Wings called you, I tell you what, you don't have to read me a joke, but if you show me a piece of paper with writing on it, I'll believe you.
You know what? I'll show it to you, and I can't.
See?
I got him. Got him, chat. Got him.
But
Let me give you a pep talk.
really good jokes.
You
And
need a lot of goddamn
I'm
books.
scared
Let me read
of-
you.
wait,
Let me
wait,
give you
hold
a
on,
suggestion.
Hold the fuck on. Like, the thing about writing comedy is I'm nervous about the fact that it's
You worry
taken
about
like
failing.
weeks to come up with like a few good jokes,
Mm-hmm.
and yet that is supposed to take up like 2 minutes of time.
But a bit
If
is
I
what,
were ever
5
to
minutes?
do
A
an
set?
hour-long comedy thing.
Oh, well, you don't start at an hour, right? You're doing 5-minute shows. No?
But I want to prepare for that. I want to have enough stuff that I can do that.
We're not asking for 5 minutes. We're asking for one joke. Let me give you some
I'm not
advice.
giving you anything I have right now.
Let me give you some advice. You read a lot of books. You talk about a lot of books.
You have no knowledge of what I'm trying to do.
I know exactly what you're trying to do.
Do you? Do you?
He's still
Do you
confident.
I've done what you
He's like 20.
Taylor, I don't think it hurts to hear what he has to say. I'm curious, if nothing else.
There's a book you should read. It's by Russell Simmons. He talks about how he couldn't get Def Jam off the ground and how he failed 3 times before he actually was a success. And in that book, he'll tell you one thing. If you never try, you always fail. And that's what you're doing right now. You're putting yourself down, you're giving jokes, and you're taking your product, which are your jokes, and you're not giving it to the mass media. He says the number one way for a band to succeed, or a group, or rap artist, or any type of group, is to give their shit away if they have to. Sell it if you can. Give it away if you have to. Because the more people hear it, the more chances you have to win somebody over.
That's
The
actually
That's what
Wuhan
we need
bats.
the opportunity to do, and you're punking out.
I have never done anything that encapsulates giving myself away for free, but I
Oh, you have. You have.
okay. Maybe with selective YouTubers, maybe a white boy 7-suit wants a blowjob, maybe a little bit of a handy in the backseat of a
You saw where I was
car,
going
so
with that.
One of the most
that's all I
popular.
can say. See that? How I turn it back on you? Enjoy that.
He's a
But-
repeated PKA guest, and it's all about the handies.
all about the handies.
Oh yeah. What'd you think? I'd shy away from that? We don't in private.
No.
We don't in public.